Hello everybody and welcome back to another brothercrypt video. Today I wanted to give you a summary of the cryptocurrency news, and usually when I cover the news I do add my little spin on it. So I really wanted to fly through some of the news articles, especially on Cointelegraph, that have piqued my interest. So this article now is crypto markets inching upwards as BTC and Ether break previous price points. This was published 19 hours ago. By the way, the date is the 9th of April, Monday, here in the UK, and it is approximately 2:30 p.m. So let's get into this article. The top 10 coins listed on CoinMarketCap are all in the green today. 8th of April, with Bitcoin BTC above 7,000 and Ethereum finally back above 400 barrier. BTC is currently trading at an exchange of 7,000 and 7,070 on Cointelegraph's price index, up a little more than 2% over a 24-hour period to press time. Ether has seen even more growth, up over 4% in a 24-hour period and trading at around $403 by time of press, according to Cointelegraph price. Bitcoin Cash is almost up there, 3% over 24-hour period as well, trading at around $656 by press time, despite the fact that Bitcoin Cash promoting Twitter account at Bitcoin has been suspended, most likely due to an influx of Bitcoin enthusiasts reporting the account as a scam. Okay, so that's a quick overview of this account, of this article. Let's quickly check out CoinMarketCap and see where we are right now, as that article was published 19 hours ago. So the total market capitalization is 257 billion, with BTC dominance at 44.5%. Looking at all of the prices in the last hour, 24 hours, 7 days, we can see that, Bitcoin is still down. Actually, it's almost around $240 less than the article quoted at that $7,000 mark. We can see that Ethereum has gone back under $400, and a lot of the top cryptocurrencies are all red. They are all red. Okay, so even though the article said that there has been a large change in values, it looks like right now the market sentiment has declined. What we can do is we can also check the market activity over the last day by going to CoinMarketCap, clicking on the market cap that's displayed, and let's just look at the charts for one day. So yes, we could see that earlier today, in fact just a couple of hours ago. Let's look back so we can see yesterday as well. So yesterday was the 8th. So we can see that, that since roughly yesterday, since that article was created, the market has sort of gradually gone up, but then it's just taken a little bit of a chunk down. Okay, so let's move on, and then we'll come back to CoinMarketCap later if we need to. Now, a lot of you may be aware, you may have heard in the news. Well, if you haven't, then I'll be bringing it to you. Soros fund management plans to launch cryptocurrency trading, report says. So let me just give you a quick summary of this article. US investment fund Soros Fund Management, which currently operates 26 billion in assets, will reportedly be investing in cryptocurrencies, despite the fact that the head of the fund, George Soros, earlier claimed that crypto is a bubble. Bloomberg reported Friday 6th of April. According to Bloomberg, citing people familiar with the matter, Adam Fisher, who is responsible for global macroeconomic investing at Soros Fund Management has already received internal approval for cryptocurrency operations, but has not started trading yet. In a speech at the World Economic Forum in Davos on the 25th of January, Soros argued that cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin cannot be considered currency due to their volatility, and that their value is speculative. Bitcoin is not a currency because a currency is supposed to be a stable store of value, and the currency that can fluctuate 25% in a day can't be used, for instance, to pay wages, because wages drop by 25 in a day. It's a speculation based on the misunderstandings. While criticizing the major cryptocurrency in January, the legendary macro trader did not provide any price predictions. Meanwhile, cryptocurrency markets have lost almost 50% by the end of the first quarter of 2018. Okay, so that's really a summary of the market. Let me just give you my opinion on this, guys. I think this is a bittersweet thing, actually. I think it's really good that George Soros and his team have done a U-turn in this. However, I think this is old news. Yes, this post was published 2 days ago, 7th of April, which coincidentally was probably on a Friday. No, it was actually published on a Saturday. But my suspicions is that George Soros and his Soros Fund Management team have probably been in crypto for at least a few months. I think that they, I don't necessarily think actually, but somebody like George Soros has quite a bit of infamy in the short time that I've really started to take notice of his name. So, for example, when you had the movement of the Black Lives Matter, this was a group that was really funded well by George Soros. And I also heard that George Soros is maybe responsible for funding or contributing towards the failed bailouts of the banks in Greece. But going back to the example that I gave with Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter came to media attention very loudly without a lot of grassroots involvements by African Americans in America. So, for example, I think around the time of the murders of what's his name? I've forgotten, the young black guy that was shot dead by police who was buying Skittles. I think it was Trayvon. I don't want to say Trayvon James, but that's the name that's come to me. But anyway, guys, you get the gist. The young guy that was killed with Skittles, and then you really heard about the prominence of the Black Lives Matter movement. Basically, when you're dealing with very powerful people who have lots of money in resources and assets, they are able to shape and influence the news that the masses comes across. So, for example, my opinion is that George Soros funded Black Lives Matter before anybody knew of Black Lives Matter. And really, I think the main attention or the main reason why he promoted such a movement like Black Lives Matter was to get black people or African Americans in the news in not so necessarily a positive light. Because, when I've spoke to some of my cousins, some of the people that I know in the USA, and when I listen to other people who have large communities, they had really never heard of Black Lives Matter. And then, after doing the research, we could tell that it was funded by Soros or a company that was closely related to him. And really, the emphasis of starting up a company like Black Lives Matter was not really to empower, or help African Americans in America to overcome police heavy-handedness, police killings, or even to address anything like white supremacy. Really, the purpose of George Soros and the creation of Black Lives Matter was really to keep, to sort of create a partition, to really create fiction, to create division amongst people while promoting a cause that doesn't necessarily look favorably to black people. And at the same time, from what I understand, there was a large sort of um, uneasiness and unwillingness in the black community in America, so they were organizing themselves. So by funding and having a big company or a big organization like Black Lives Matter, funded by Joros, you're able to then take the wind out of other potential people who are protesting and uprising. I hope this is making sense, but yeah, I didn't really want to talk on this point for too long because I feel like I'm going on off topic. But basically, Soros got in there early, funded movements like Black Lives Matter, and I believe it has detrimental effects to African American people. And a lot of them also believe this as well, because instead of dealing with, your average rights of black people or African Americans, Black Lives Matter is just a rubbish form of dilution, which is tackling gender issues, sexuality issues, transgender issues, separating, mothers away from their fathers. Therefore, ideally, if in a Black Lives Matter family, you would probably have a woman running a household without any males. So it's almost like it contributes towards the dilution and the breakup of African American families, and then you're putting all of these other rights on top of it. So therefore, why is it called under Black Lives Matter? And I'm not trying to say that there's anything wrong with transgender or homosexual rights and their issues, but you can't really give something a particular name which is striking, such as Black Lives Matter, but then that organization is tasked and directed to deal with transgender. Is meant to deal with lesbian rights. Is meant to deal with gay rights and all of these other subgenres of American culture. That's just not. It's just not constructive. So yes, Soros has a way of sort of using media, funding oppositions, and then executing his own agenda, basically. And this is what I have witnessed with Black Lives Matter. Coupled with this, people are asking, why is the Bitcoin price so low? How comes we've gone from an all-time high of $20,000 in, towards the middle of December, around about December the 24th? How comes we've gone from an all-time high of 20,000 and then today we have a Bitcoin price of, 6,700? Basically, in the first quarter of 2018, we've just witnessed the price tumble. It's gone up, then it's tumbled. At one point, cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, they did hold a price of around $10,000. Let's just go to the charts, see how if we can have a look. The last 3 months. Yeah, so we just want the price. Yeah, so we just want the price. So, we sort of started off the year with Bitcoin around about 14,000, and then we've just gone gradually in decline. Okay, and why is this? Now, Ian Bellina was actually one of the first people I heard to actually talk about this in a serious capacity, and then other people started talking about this. But basically, one point that Ian mentioned was that, there's a lot of whale activity in the market, and because of the introduction of things like futures, you're having lots of people with lots of large institutional money really betting against Bitcoin. And after that, he actually mentioned that when you have people betting against Bitcoin, all of these institutions, they're also swaying the media as well. So, for example, he mentioned that um, lots of negative articles related to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency seem to come out at crucial times during the day over the last 3 months. And since we've entered into 2018, the price of Bitcoin has been suppressed, and it's probably been suppressed on purpose, which sort of makes sense, because if you can, make money shorting, betting on Bitcoin, you're making actually money by getting into trades, and then as the Bitcoin price has reduced, you're able to scoop Bitcoin up at an all-time cheap rate, and therefore this has an effect on the rest of the market. But there are really only probably a few professional institutional people that do this, because not everybody has access to margin trading, and not everybody is comfortable actually using margin trading. So in my opinion, this fits right up the street of somebody who is backed and who is as organized and who has a team like George Soros. So, like I said, guys, when I give you the news, I give it to you with my opinion. So please don't take this as financial advice. Don't take it as gospel. This is purely just my opinion. Okay. So yes, as I said earlier, I see this as a bittersweet situation. Yes, it will be good that we have some institutional money in cryptocurrency, but then, basically our markets are being sort of manipulated, and it's unfortunate that we are seeing people like George Soros come into this space, but yet maybe some people who had bought Bitcoin at a high at, let's say, 20,000, they've held on to crypto for like 3-4 months, and they must be feeling burnt. They're feeling the pressure, and then they probably sell, and then their Bitcoin's going on to somebody like George Soros, who really doesn't need your Bitcoin. He does not need the money. He's just, playing basically. And it's really about power at the end of the day. These people, they want you to be less profitable. They want you to be less resourceful. They want you to work for them. And they want to benefit and capitalize and profit off your human resource. This is just a form of slavery. Okay? And let's move on. So the next article, which I also wanted to touch in, is that Rockefeller's VC arm, venture capital arm, Venrock, partners with Coin Fund. Execs highlight focus on the long term. So let me quickly run through a summary of this. Venrock, the official venture capital arm of the Rockefeller family, has partnered with crypto investment group CoinFund to support cryptocurrency and blockchain business innovation, Fortune reported April 6. CoinFund has recently added token-based financial services platform CoinList, a spin-off of startup connection website's AngelList, to the number of projects that it backs. CoinFund is also known for backing chat messenger app Kik, which raised almost 100 million in the initial coin offering of its Kik token last fall. Fortune notes that Venrock and CoinFund met through the mutual investment in the live video stream app Maker you now. Okay. I love this quote actually. When asked about Bitcoin's BTC recent failure to strongly stay above $7,000, Venrock partner David Pacman told Fortune that the price of a single currency over the last day, week, month, year is not what they thought about when decided to partner with a crypto investment group. We're really patient long-term investors. We're wondering what happens over the next 5 to 10 years. Can we have fundamental change to a number of different markets because of a distributed ledger, a token on a token economy that all participants can partake in? Okay, so yes, guys and girls. What's my opinion on this? Okay, so we've got the Soros, we've got the Rockefellers now in crypto, and there was another family I came across actually a few months ago. Forgive me, it's off the top of my head. I'm trying to remember. The Rockefellers, the Soros. I've really forgotten. Let me see if it's in this article. No, I can't find it in this article, unfortunately. Sorry about this, guys. But yes, basically, a lot of the large families with monies are now coming into crypto because what else are you going to do? Are you going to hold dollars? Not really. Why won't you hold dollars? Okay, so the reason that you're not going to hold dollars is because the value of a dollar is just being wiped away with inflation, and the dollar is not as strong as it was maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, even 10 years ago. Probably the strongest dollar that we've ever had was when it was backed by gold, and therefore couldn't necessarily be easy manipulated, or the government weren't able to print more money because it was backed by gold. For them to create more money, they would have to probably find and acquire more gold. So when they took the dollar off the gold standard, meaning that it wasn't backed by gold, then the dollar just probably went into freefold. However, another thing is through American foreign policy and a form of imperialism, you had to pay for petrol and quite a lot of commodities using the dollar. This is why the dollar is or known as the world reserve currency, or the world's main trading currency, which it still stands today. But now that China have reduced their own petro yuan in a form of which is slightly correlated and has the possibility to be exchanged by gold, this approach was probably set up a few weeks ago, relatively early, and you have Asian nations as well as Russia using other currencies like the yuan, maybe the ruble, maybe their own native currencies to be able to buy and trade and maybe sell oil and other important commodities. So the time is already changing as well. And basically what I'm trying to say is that these families, your Rockefellers, your Soros, they are aware of how the world is changing, and they are also looking to put their money, their fortunes, into things with longevity. And they probably believe that cryptocurrency has potential, which is why they're getting into this. So guys, these guys are very shrewd, to say the least, as well as being very clever, but very shrewd. They have a long-term perspective, like 5 to 10 years. And in my honest opinion, I've seen the biggest gains over the long term. So I initially invested into Bitcoin in 2013, and it wasn't until last year that I just said, wow, I've got a crazy return, more than a 10x return. And that was just by doing nothing. Sometimes, we lose sight of our long-term vision, especially if you are looking at crypto on a daily basis and checking your portfolio and checking how much these coins are worth, thinking that, oh yeah, in a space of a week or 2 weeks, it's going to blow. No, it takes a little bit longer than that. It's really good that some cryptocurrencies might take up to, I don't know, like 3 or 4 months and they get a 10-20 return. But that's not the norm for all of those. And you can't do that with all ICOs. However, these guys, they have a long-term perspective of the technology and are investing in it for the long run. So yes, this is also refreshing news, and I feel it's good because what I feel like is the bulls are coming. Basically, the bulls are coming. They are right around the corner, and right now should be looked at as the accumulation stage. But let's move on to this next article. Big investors will make all hell break loose in crypto in 2018, says Abra CEO. So let me just quickly summarize and give you a snapshot of what this says. Cryptocurrency investment app Abra CEO forecasts that all hell will break loose in Bitcoin and altcoin markets this year in a fresh mainstream media interview on March the 28th. Speaking to Business Insider 2 weeks after the startup announced it had raised 40 million in new funding 6 October, the CEO said Western institutional money will begin to dip its toe into crypto assets in 2018. In doing so, the CEO continues a popular narrative that institutional investors waiting for an opportune moment will transform Bitcoin and major altcoin price performance. Bitcoin continued to sink towards fresh bi-weekly lows on March 29th, circulating around 7,600 according to Cointelegraph's price tracker. Ethereum, which has lost 52% of its value in a month, is set to challenge $400 a coin. I talk to hedge funds, high net worth individual, even commodity speculators. They look at the volatility in crypto markets and see it is a huge opportunity. The CEO nevertheless reports adopting a bullish tone. Once that happens, all hell will break loose. Once the floodgates are open, they're open. Even cryptocurrency industry analysts have recently aired caution about short-term price prospects for Bitcoin. Regular commentator Tony Vase has warned during recent highs that until resistance around 12,000 was cleared, prices continue to break lackluster performance and could even drop below the current levels. For the CEO, however, future potential takes prevalence over short term. Very key point. However, future potential takes prevalence over short-term volatility between 6,000 to 12,000. There's really a zero large-scale institutional money. There really is zero large-scale institutional money from the West in crypto right now. That is happening in Japan. He continued. We're getting closer and closer to real clarity in the West that's okay, putting 0.5% of your crypto into assets. Okay, guys. So basically, the creator of this app is just saying that institutional money is around the corner. Guys, it definitely is, because, everything that I've been hearing points to it. And, there are a few things on the horizon which I think will really just spark crypto off, and we will be seeing a very buoyant next 3 to 6 months in crypto. That's definitely my belief. So let me just tell you, a few things which I think have sort of invited the bulls, have invited your Soroses, have invited your Rockefellers. Um, Firstly, it was the SEC statements that they be taking a light-handed touch on cryptocurrency regulations. Basically, the statement made by one of the top regulators for the Securities and Exchanges Commission was that, his daughter uses cryptocurrency. They think it's a good store of value. They just want to protect Americans from scammers, basically, but they're going to let that institution thrive. Guys, what my third eye is telling me is that the the big boys, your Goldman Sachs, yeah, who have bought Poloniex. Yes, Goldman Sachs have bought Poloniex through an intermediary called Circle. For that deal to go through, Goldman Sachs basically spoke to the SEC and said, we want to buy this. Can you please turn a blind eye to all of the transgressions that have done in the past? We're going to clean the company up and we're going to be fully compliant. Now, those talks handle behind closed bars, and we probably don't hear about them until weeks or months when they want us to hear about them. And this is probably a similar thing that's happened with, George Soros. For George Soros to go into a market, he wants to make sure he's regulated. So I'm sure that somewhere, at some point, George Soros and also the Rockefellers, these large institutional investors with money, they have already, been having informal chats with regulators, with your SEC, and everything is just aligning up for them as well. So I don't know. I'm guessing that, when we see like 10 billion or 20 billion in the market, maybe they are also investing a little bit of money into the market and pulling it out. Maybe they're just doing some tests, you know. But let's move on. Let's go to the next article. Wall Street Bitcoin bull Tom Lee predicts massive outflow of crypto before tax day. So this is another reason, I would say that we have money coming out from cryptocurrency, So let me just quickly give you a summary of this. Fundstrat's Tom Lee has predicted a massive outflow of cryptocurrency to fiat in the lead up to tax day in the US. CNBC reports. In a Thursday report, Lee notes that since US households owe an estimated 25 billion in capital gain taxes due to crypto holdings and crypto exchanges also will owe income tax, both households and exchanges will be selling their crypto to pay the US government. We believe there is selling pressure by crypto exchanges who are subject to income tax in US jurisdictions. Many exchanges have met net income in 2017 of more than 1 billion and keep working capital in Bitcoin, Ethereum, not USD. Hence, to meet these price liabilities are selling Bitcoin or Ethereum. According to Lee, historical estimates are each $1 of USD outflow is 20 to 25 impact on cryptocurrency related markets. The crypto markets reported near 50% losses across the first quarter of 2018, making BTC and Ethereum worst first quarter performances in history of the coins. However, anyone that capitalized on crypto markets spike in December 2017 that saw BTC drop to 20,000 will need to pay capital gains on their interest. Lee's Bitcoin Misery Index BMI created in mid-March to show how miserable BTC holders are based on the current price, shows that crypto holders are currently feeling the misery. Okay, guys. So as we can see, basically this article is saying that lots of people still have to organize their taxes, and for them to, organize their taxes, they need to sell off some of the working capital that they're holding in Bitcoin or Ethereum, which makes sense, guys. So this June, I would have been in this space for at least a year, looking at this, on a semi-full-time basis, looking at the markets regularly. So I'm expecting another boom in June, because what got my attention for me to start looking at this space on a full-time basis, and for me to set up my companies, was the bullish positive news, the price increase. That's what really got my attention and made me look at it. Yes, I did invest in Bitcoin prior to last year, but I really didn't do anything with it. I just invested, said, oh, okay, I've got a few altcoins, got some Bitcoins, just chilled and worked on building up my companies. However, now Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is a primary focus of mine on a day-to-day basis. So basically, we are receiving an explanation into why there's a massive sell-off, and this works to it, So people are selling their taxes. Let's see if this article tells us when the tax session will finish. So Lee concludes, ultimately we expect Bitcoin to find footing after 17th of April, tax day. Okay, so it's Crypto Witch's birthday on the 18th of April. Of when we're celebrating her birthday, we should see some good price action in Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies around that day. So that's really just literally a week away. This time next week, we should be laughing. And at the same time, guys, you've got limited time, because these are the things that I'm hearing. I'm hearing that Cointelegraph is hosting an event, and that this event is called Consensus. And Consensus, they have a cryptocurrency conference based in New York in May, and that basically this is one of the biggest conferences for mainstream and media adoption. And when this happens, we should be getting lots of new money coming into this space. So guys, I think you have until Consensus for you to get into cryptocurrency if you really want to make some savage gains, as Superman would say. But if you want to make some serious money, then you should get your stuff together, send your money to exchange, buy some Bitcoin, buy some other altcoins that you're interested in, and then just wait for 2 months and let the market catch up. This window is closing every day, and I believe that, when Consensus happens, we're going to see a barrage of positive news again. Right now, it's unfortunate that the price has dropped so much, but it's just dropped to shake all of those people with weak hands. I've done it myself. In the process of reviewing my portfolio and tracking my purchases, I could see that a lot of purchases I made, like some of my earlier Neo purchases, were at the top of the price around that time. So it's something that I've done. So I'm going to be a little bit more savvy. So, over the last week, I've injected more fiat currency. I've got some cash, and then with that cash, I've increased my holdings of Bitcoin, and also I've started to invest in other cryptocurrencies, ones that I wanted to get into, but I couldn't, and then also increasing my existing holdings. So for example, doubling up on things like EOS on Cardano, so that my dollar cost average is going way down. Basically, a dollar cost average is you know, the cost of what you have purchased, either a crypto or a stock over time. So if you pay $10 for one crypto, and then if it's on sale and then you buy it for like $5, your dollar cost average for your entire holdings would be 7.50. Okay, but let's move on, guys. Okay, so I'll quickly summarize over this. Bitcoin Ethereum price remains steady despite crypto ban from India's central bank. The crypto markets are holding their own this week, with Bitcoin not venturing too far away from 7,000, even amid news that India's central bank would stop dealing with the crypto-related businesses. The relatively steady price could be attributed to a big adoption win in Asia yesterday when Omise and OmiseGo signed a memorandum of understanding for fintech and blockchain innovation with a South Korean banking affiliate. BTC is currently trading for around 6,880, up a little more than 3% over a 24-hour period. To press time. And Ethereum is also trading around 400. Very similar to what I stated in my previous article. Okay. Basically, I can't really comment on this. I've heard different things. What I've heard is that, you know, India has banned it. What I heard is that it's not a ban, but India central bank doesn't want retail banks to have custody or hold accounts for other blockchain companies. So effectively, they are creating a ban, but not a direct. They're not coming out and directly saying, in India, no, you cannot use crypto. However, what they are doing is they are pressuring lots of the gateways, especially banks. So for example, if there's an exchange in India and that exchange has a bank account with a bank, basically because of the Indian central bank, that bank will probably close the bank account of the exchange. So it's really trying to stifle innovation. I think this is unfortunate, and I think it will have a big impact potentially on cryptocurrency. However, what my third eye tells me is that this just could be a gimmick. I think it could just be like FUD. They are purposely spreading FUD so that lots of people get shaken down. They sell their Bitcoin, they sell their holdings, and then, you know, within the next 6 months, they're going to do a complete U-turn and not ban it. Because I don't necessarily see why India's trying to do this. Maybe farewell, they might be trying to keep more tighter controls on their monetary environment, you know, for them to be able to do macroeconomics. That's what they might be trying to do, but it doesn't really make any sense, because when I think of Indians, I think of India being a very tech-savvy company, and I'm sure you have a lot of blockchain developers, and India has really bolstered itself through providing, you know, IT and telephony expertise to Western countries, and with the advent, with the growth of cryptocurrency and blockchain developers, Indian-based developers will be sought after, especially if they have blockchain capabilities. Anybody with blockchain capabilities will be sought after. And the type of places that you're going to get those type of developers outside the West for a cheap price will be places like India. So by the Indian government saying this, they're just going to really stifle their economy. So I guess we're going to have to just see how this pans out. But by the end of 2018, I do not think India will have a ban on cryptocurrencies as they are suggesting. But let's move on. Okay, the same article again. India petition to reverse Indian central bank crypto ban gains 17,000 signature. Right on, as it should. Breaking news. Okay, so this is just really summing down part of what I wanted to talk to. Let me just read over this article, and then we'll get straight into it. So, breaking news: Mailchimp reportedly shuts down accounts relating to crypto price drops. Marketing automation platform MailChimp will reportedly shut down all accounts related to cryptocurrency, including initial coin offerings, exchanges, news, books, events, and announcements. Industry expert and Bitcoin advocate Andreas Antonopoulos tweeted on the subject. This is the second instance I hear of MailChimp shutting down accounts related to cryptocurrencies. Not once advertising ICOs or even exchanges, just news, books, events, announcements. Ivan Van Ness of The Week in Ethereum tweeted, MailChimp is shutting down their account in 4 weeks because they hate blockchains. Blockchain board Currency Job said that their account with MailChimp is being closed as well. They're closing the cryptocurrency job accounts as well. Cryptocurrency jobs. One Twitter user replied that it seems as if MailChimp quickly added a clause to their terms of use banning material relating to crypto and virtual currencies. As of press time, MailChimp has not made a public statement on the matter. Okay, this is slightly unnerving that MailChimp have not made a public statement about what they're doing, and they are just, closing down accounts which are related to cryptocurrency. Okay, let me give you my twist on this news article. Over the last few weeks, maybe months, we've heard of Facebook. They are going to ban crypto-related advertising, and then that was quickly followed by Google. Google said that in June 2018 that you will no longer be able to advertise cryptocurrency-related content, including ICOs, on any of their Google platforms. And then that was quickly followed up, I think, most recently by Twitter, and Twitter said that they will, stop cryptocurrency-related advertising too. I think that this is a move that's being really done between powerful, conceited organizations. Maybe even George Soros and the Rockefellers are responsible for this, but it really feels like these media companies are trying to vilify cryptocurrency by banning it without no credible, strong reason. I can appreciate that maybe some people have got scammed, that, people might be handing over cash or other cryptocurrency for brave promises, but people get scammed out of money, and people part their money easily all day because, you can buy a course that costs you an obscene amount of money, and then when you look into it, it doesn't necessarily seem to provide much value. Now, this is the beauty about cryptocurrency, and why I do like the term and analogy called, it's the wild, wild west, because only you are responsible for your own success or your own failure. You need to research something. You decide to buy. You hold your own private keys. Nobody can steal it from you. So I like cryptocurrency because if you want freedom and if you want independence and sovereignty, you're going to get that by how you educate yourself and how you learn. Okay? So the more you learn, the better you're able to position yourself for success. However, if you're just lazy and you just follow the advice of the first thing that pops up, you're not going to get success in cryptocurrency. So I think there's something untowards about this, and I'm not necessarily taking this at face value. Personally, I still think that Facebook will come out with their own cryptocurrency at some point. I can't really tell you about Twitter or Google. However, from what I hear, Google has already invested in some cryptocurrencies. I think it's called Veer. Don't quote me on it. I should have to look. Let me do a search actually. Yes, I believe it's this crypto called Veer. Double E. Let me see if it's related to Google. If Google crypto. Okay. Okay. Well, it might not be Veer. It's not very clear right now, guys. Um, so my opinion is just that I think a lot of these companies are going to uh, go into cryptocurrency. You know, if you check up recently, Google started to register some domains with their own name, such as Amazon Bitcoin.com, Amazon Ethereum.com, Amazon cryptocurrencies. Google recently registered all of these ICOs. Um, I'm hearing that Apple is looking to get into cryptocurrency as well, which makes sense because of things like their mobile payments as well. So I'm taking what these companies are saying very lightly. I really think that, you know, people have been screaming regulation, people have been screaming adoption, and now all of these things that people have been wanted in this space that they've been screaming about is starting to happen, but it's not going to be the way that they thought they were. What they're doing is they're squeezing the market, trying to suck it dry, trying to get you to sell your coins for the cheap, and then they're just going to buy it up and then bring their boys in it, and the whole thing's just going to be institutional money. And then Bitcoin will get to a crazy price of like 100 grand before the end of the year, and then you'll be like, oh shit, how am I going to get in again? you know so that's just my opinion, guys. I think there is something a little bit underhand and suspicious, and I don't think that that these bans will be sustained, certainly at the end of this year going on into next year, especially with all of the institutional money that comes in, unless they wait for regulation to clean things up, and then they'll drop them again. But I don't know, I smell a rat. Okay, let's move on. And rightly so, three more countries join planned lawsuits against internet giants for banning cryptocurrency cryptocurrency and Bitcoin organizations in Switzerland, Kazakhstan, and Armenia have recently joined those of Russia, China, and South Korea in filing a joint lawsuit against major internet companies for banning crypto-related advertising. Local Russian news outlet RNS reported. The plans to file joint lawsuits against tech giants Google, Twitter, Facebook were first revealed on March 27th. The organizations originally filed the complaint include the Russian Association of Cryptocurrency and Blockchain, the Korean Venture Business Associations, and LCBT, a Chinese Association of Crypto Investors. So basically it looks like the lawsuit is underway. A joint lawsuit is set to be filed in May 2018 in New York, very close to the consensus event I was talking about. So who knows? Maybe these guys might deliver their lawsuit, and then these tech companies will drop them, because in May we're going to start seeing an influx of institutional money based on the consensus on the consensus event, which is going to be held in New York. Okay, so yeah, I'm not really going to read all of this, guys. Next. Now, this really piqued my interest. This is the final article I wanted to get into. UK's financial regulator releases guidelines for dealing in crypto derivatives. The UK's Financial Conduct Authority, FCA, has published a statement requiring businesses to seek authorization for dealing in cryptocurrency derivatives on its website. The statement clarifies trading, transaction, and advising on crypto derivatives is activity which falls under the Markets in Financial Instruments Directive, MiFID II, which was introduced as part of the EU's January 2018 financial reforms. The FCA stipulates that although cryptocurrencies are not considered currencies or commodities that require regulation, derivatives referring to cryptocurrencies or ICO tokens are capable of being financial instruments and thus fall within regulatory perimeters. The FCA includes 3 examples of crypto derivatives: futures, contracts for differences, and options. CFDs based on crypto assets track the price of the underlying asset and allow investors to borrow money for their bets in order to chase high leverage returns. Importantly, they do not need to own any of the crypto currency itself. In late March, the European Securities and Markets Authority, ESMA, strengthened requirements for crypto-backed CFDs, citing the high price volatility of cryptocurrencies as its main concern. The FCA's position echoes that of another European regulator earlier this year, which likewise sought to clarify the definition of derivatives after online crypto trading platforms began offering binary option CFD and forex contracts. Beyond Europe, Bitcoin futures are popular derivative, making inroads into the world of regulated finance, with banks such as Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs both clearing future contracts for some clients after launching derivative exchanges CME Group and CBOE. Okay, so why I find this magical is that this line, what they say here, the FCA stipulates that although cryptocurrencies are not considered currencies or commodities that require regulations, derivatives referring to cryptocurrencies or ICO tokens are capable of being financial instruments and thus fall within regulatory perimeters. Guys, in my opinion, we're one step from the FCA changing their stance and saying that cryptocurrencies are actually a currency. That's what I think. I think we're one step away, because a derivative of Bitcoin, I don't even know what that is. Maybe it's just for institutions to trade it between themselves. Like, fair enough, if you want a future, you can have a future. So futures are gonna be regulated, which makes sense because it's usually only institutional money that deals with this. And then also options as well. Options are what banks trade, and then a CFD, a contract for derivatives as well. It's usually what banking, financial institutions, corporate money trades. So it just perplexes me, like, how comes you don't look at Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency as a currency which requires regulation, but a derivative, which is not really the underlying asset, requires regulation. So yeah, I'm not really going to go into this right now. It might be something I can look at again. But yeah, it just I find it really amazing. Okay, guys, so I think I've covered all of the news articles that I wanted to really in this edition. So thank you for watching another brothercrypt video. Thank you for all of my new subscriptions. Thank you for those that have joined me. those that have liked or subscribed to my channel. I'm really grateful. And if you find any of this helpful, please recommend it to others. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a giveaway when I get to 100 subscribers. I think when I last checked, I was around 75. So in my next video, I'll announce exactly what I'm going to do for that giveaway. But yes, there will be a giveaway. So yeah, please do come back. Please do watch some more. And I think that's really it for the update. I could really, now that I've started, I could really keep going and keep talking, but I'm sure your time is precious and you don't want to stay to me, rambling on unnecessarily. But I will be back in the next video with some good content for you. So my advice based on the news is, if you are on the sidelines, if you have never invested in cryptocurrency, or if you've got a small portfolio and you're thinking about increasing it, my advice would be to think seriously about what you want to do now and prepare yourself to be able to execute. So if you do want to get into the markets, for me, it takes, my money to arrive at the exchange in at least 4 hours. It used to be a whole day, but at least 4 hours. So that means that if I wanted to buy Bitcoin, I would have to send it within working hours to CoinFloor, and then when it's received at CoinFloor, it takes them a few hours to process, and then hopefully in 4 hours, if I send it probably before 1 p.m., it will get there by 5. However, if I send it after 1, then it's usually the next day. So little things like that are worth, thinking about, because right now, I appreciate it's been hard, even for me, for the last quarter, and I've got quite a comfortable portfolio. But even for me, I've seen like almost 3 quarters just wiped off the value of my portfolio, and for me to hold it that long, it's just felt like it's been ages. And I look at myself as somebody who's a little bit seasoned, who's experienced, who's been in the game for a minute. It'll be almost a year full time, or looking at this space almost every day. But then I first got into crypto in 2013. So even with my experience and exposure, it's still been hard. So really, now is the best time for you to be buying. What I did a few weeks ago was I sent some money to the exchange, I bought some Bitcoin, and then I just started saving some of that Bitcoin, and then I got into other positions as well. So I included more Cardano to my portfolio. I included more MinexCoin to my portfolio. I included more TAS, token as a service, to my portfolio. I bought some more NEO. I then bought Autology as well. So I got into new positions as well. So me now, I'm just waiting for the market for it to boom, for it to correct. And then when it is at an all-time high, I'll be taking my profit. Looking back now, I wish I had taken profit in December, but I didn't. However, I've learned from that. It's not going to happen again. So yes, the smart money, the George Soros money, the Rockefeller money is buying up now while the prices are high, and we're just waiting for the boom. So now's a brilliant time to get into crypto, guys. Don't let all the negative news, sway you too much, because this is a game of longevity, and Bitcoin and crypto, especially the good ones, they're going to be here for the next few years. Everybody else just needs to catch up. But congratulations to you if you're already in the game. Now is the time to re-up if you're thinking about it. Okay, so you'll see my email address in the comment section. If you ever want to contact me, if you want to get in touch, please just drop us an email. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I wish you a prosperous Monday 9th. Okay, take care everybody. I'm out. Bye.